As the Prophet Muhammad said, "Give charity without delay, for it stands in the way of calamity." It's a reminder from our Prophet, giving not only changes lives, it also protects us from mishaps. When we give generously, we receive blessings in return. It's not about the size of your donation, it's about the consistency of your generosity. Even your small contribution can make a big difference in people's lives. Visit umrrelief.org today and join us on our journey to changing lives.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum everyone and Ramadan Mubarak. I'm happy to see all of our viewers here again on our iTVusa show, Balancing Deen and Dunya, which is sponsored by UMR. In our episodes, we like to meet with community leaders, different individuals who are doing incredible things and trailblazing in so many ways in our Muslim communities. Today, we have another incredible trailblazer with us, Brother Maqsood Ahmad, who is the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer of ICNA Relief USA. Brother Maqsood is an esteemed Islamic leader with 4 decades of dedication, bringing experience from so many other different nonprofits as well, leading the Central Shura of the Islamic Circle of North America. He has a master's degree in civil engineering from Georgia Institute of Technology, a bachelor's from the University of Engineering and Technology in Pakistan, and he has been actively committed to social welfare and development projects for many, many years. So without further ado, let's welcome Brother Maqsood to our show. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Maqsood. I think there may be some difficulties with connecting, so we'll give him a minute to try to reconnect, inshallah. I know from my own personal experience with ICNA Relief USA, they have been doing incredible work on the ground here and abroad as well. And I think we've got Brother Maqsood with us now. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, brother?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I'm so happy you could join us.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak to you as well. I know Ramadan is a very busy month for ICNA Relief and many of the organizations. So thank you for joining us. So
we have kind of unpredictable weather here in Baton Rouge. It was just in 80s 2 days ago, and then last rain and cold weather. Not that cold, but that made me a little bit flu-like symptoms. Not flu, but kind of heavy throat after the travel. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. May Allah grant you shifa and may Allah relieve the bad weather and allow there to be sunshine in Baton Rouge as well, bi'Iznillah.
Well, so we also need rain.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Everything
Everything
from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is good.
Yes. Yes. So, Brother Maqsood, you were with us on our show last year as well, and you had shared a little bit about the work that you do at ICNA Relief, the projects that you have. I know this year, since October 7th, of course, many relief organizations have been really working very hard to provide relief, here in the U.S., abroad as well. I know ICNA Relief USA focuses mostly on domestic projects, but I'd love to hear a little bit from you about what has changed over the past year, what things have developed or projects has ICNA Relief USA taken on that may be different from what we heard about last year?
Well, you mentioned Gaza, and I think these days, both as an individual, even in families and in our community and masjid, the atrocities what's going on over there, the massacre, it's always in our minds and in our thoughts, in our discussions. And may Allah make it easy for them. But that also brings the responsibility of American Muslims that we have to be strong over here so our voices are heard. Sometimes situation is like even talking to my own children and young people, sometimes they feel kind of helpless and as we don't count. So for that matter, to be counted over here, and we need to collectively as a body increase our efforts over here to unite the community, to work with other communities, and take care of our own brothers and sisters who are in need in our neighborhood. And there's thousands and thousands of refugees from Muslim countries from Sudan, Yemen, Syria, Burma, Afghanistan, lately a large number from Afghanistan, Palestine, and other parts of the world. Before I go to ICNA Relief work, when we help them over here, and it's not one individual. I gave you one example that once I met a brother in Dallas. He said that I am directly and indirectly helping 14 families. And ICNA Relief helped me to be on my feet. Somebody donated a car, we fixed the car, and helped him to get the insurance, and help him get a job. And he said that there are families in the aftermath of situation in Syria and then the earthquake, that they are scattered in Turkey, in Syria and other parts. And one individual just being over here, that's one aspect that we work. But the other aspect is that when we work over here in these areas, we connect on one side with the mainstream organizations like Catholic Charity, Lutheran Social Services, so on and so forth. And at the same time, with the governmental agencies, because when you are there in the time of disaster, when you are working with the food banks, talking about the halal ingredients and getting those things done, when we are providing to the refugees, and working with different resettlement agencies. And by the way, ICNA Relief USA, Alhamdulillah, is the first Muslim resettlement agency now in 13 states. So that's one accomplishment. But before I talk about ICNA Relief, my point is that we live in the most influential, most important country of the world, most powerful country. And if we are strong over here, by our work, by our presence, and we work as one body, and at the same time we are able to mobilize our neighbors, we will be able to make a much bigger impact in the other parts of the world, particularly in Gaza and what's going on over here. And I think that is very important. And as we see that through Muslim organizations work in different arena, from social justice, the social services, and of course when it comes to social services, ICNA Relief has the forefront. We've been able to, just through our mobile clinics, last year it was reported about 280 health fairs, and generally in one health fair we get masjid, a few churches, and some they are done sometime in the public area, maybe in the Walmart, wherever we get the permission. And that just we were able to get to about 300 different organizations. So just imagine that what's happening now, Gaza, that pressure building up, it's one drop at a time. One person at a time, one organization at a time. And now we see that there's a big movement. Of course, that not all for ICNA Relief. Credit goes to every organization, every masjid, and every neighbor. Majority of the people around us, they are good human beings. And many non-Muslims are coming up, speaking up. But that happened partly that now the Muslim community over here is stepping up and building those relationships.
Yeah. So, Brother Maqsood, I think, you touch upon, several really important points. As we've been saying throughout our episodes, since the start of Ramadan, Gaza it weighs heavily on all of our minds and in our hearts. And I think, everyone's looking for something that they can do. But different organizations do different things. You spoke a little bit about being a resettlement agency now in 13 different states. And, we know with the resettlement policies, as much as we are trying in the US to reach the 125,000 resettled refugees within the year, that mark, there's also a lot of restrictions on who can come in and who can't come in. What are we seeing in terms of resettlement, and particularly ICNA Relief USA's role in resettling families, individuals, those who need medical help, particularly from Gaza?
As far there are two aspects of resettlement. One is the eligibility to come over here and who will be allowed, and that's beyond our scope. And since ICNA leaf mandate is just within the US, so we only help those who are those who are already allowed, and they come in. Even when a large number of Afghan refugees came, they were still in the bases, but we are allowed to provide them halal food, even prayer rugs, Quran and translation in those languages. Those that is their cultural needs. So that's beyond our scope. But those who come over here, that alhamdulillah, being a resettlement agency, you can do a lot of things for your community. Things as simple as that. When they come over here, many people are not familiar at the perception as their government give them a lot of money. Generally, it's a very limited amount. They give them a very low and rundown kind of apartments, only for 3 months. They have language barrier, they have cultural barrier. And when there was no Muslim organization active in this field and is able to connect them with the society, what happened that they, due to the language barrier in particular, they don't know the system over here. They continue to struggle for many years. And during that time, particularly among the refugees, there is a large number of single mothers with small children, husbands are either, because refugees come from those places where there are already a chaos and some wars going on, some situation. So they not only are left behind financially, even their family is broken apart, children run away. These were the situations. But now, alhamdulillah, by us stepping up and being there, we were able to, last year, close to 26,000 refugees, we were able to connect them with our community. That's the most important thing. Because if the refugees, when they come over here, say they are from Gaza, they speak Arabic, or they are from Afghanistan, they speak Persian or Dari and other parts of the world. If they are connected with the local masajid, with the local community, that is such an important step for them to gain confidence. And of course, if there's some at the emotional level, they feel some satisfaction and a sense of confidence, sense of trust, then they accomplish a lot in their life.
Yes.
So that's, I think, apart from the other things what we do, of course, helping them to be on their own through our hunger prevention department. We provide them the food boxes. Just in this Ramadan, we'll be providing 25,000 food boxes, and one food box is enough to give a family relief at least 15 days. That helps them save on their budget, everything at their home. They cook at home and they can save a lot. But not only that, we provide them, we help them through workshops and education, where to buy less expensive food, how to buy smart on Walmart or Target rather than buying from the corner store every day. Similarly, helping them to get their Medicaid, where they are helping them get their food stamps, helping them, their children to get into the school. All of these things, they pave the way for their self-sufficiency. But most important one is the first one. We have seen that success rate is going up. Just being connected with the Muslim community and people they feel comfortable with, that's much more important psychologically than the physical help we are providing. And just by the way, we don't publicize it much, but the last year, the very sad incident happened in Chicago, where a young mother with a young child, he got martyred, 6-year-old, how much venom is being spread in the community. That family, they were in our shelter home for quite some time, and they have successfully transitioned to their own apartment. I mean, everything is not to make for publicity, but just it came to that. That family is from Palestine. That that mother and that hero, they came from those camps, and they stayed in ICNA Leave Shelter Home in Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
And they have just graduated, but that's one, and there are many stories like that.
There are, yes, yes. Brother Maqsood, thank you for sharing a glimpse of what ICNA Relief does. I think so that our viewers can learn a little bit more about ICNA Relief, we do have an advertisement that we're going to run that will share a little bit more information. So if our producers could put up the advertisement, we'd appreciate that.
At ICNA Relief USA, we believe that charity begins at home. In the last 5 years, we have served over 5.2 million people with our core values of sincerity, sacrifice, and service. And it all starts with you, our volunteers and our donors. You volunteered your time and donated your money to help people when they needed it most. In 2022, you served your communities and volunteered for over 60,000 hours throughout the United States. More than 34 million people, including 9 million children in the US, are food insecure. You served your neighbors by giving out meals through the Hunger Prevention Program. 500,000 people, including 100,000 families. When people's homes were destroyed and damaged by natural disasters, you were on the ground with ICNA Relief's Disaster Relief Program and helped rebuild their homes. Over 50,000 backpacks were distributed through your efforts in the Back to School program, providing children with essentials to return back to the classroom. Through ICNA Relief's Shifa clinics, you helped us provide essential healthcare to more than 6,500 people. In addition, through ICNA Relief's mobile clinics, you helped us provide another 8,500 people with healthcare, including vaccinations for COVID-19 to combat the pandemic. Your contribution to Muslim Family Services helped children in foster care, families struggling to make ends meet, those in need of counseling, and refugees who were forced to leave their homes. But you didn't stop there. You helped over 500 women when they needed it most through the Women's Transitional Housing Program, providing women in need a place to stay and opportunities to get back on their feet. All of this was only possible because of you. We give all praise and gratitude to Allah. We could not accomplish any of this amazing work without the help and mercy of Allah. And then you, our volunteers and donors. It's your hard work that helps us realize our vision to become the charity of choice for all Americans based on faith, compassion, and service. So let's keep working. It's a new year, a new opportunity to serve our communities. Continue to support ICNA Relief. Visit www.icnarelief.org.
Right. So alhamdulillah, I think that little advertisement helped us better understand the scope of the work that ICNA Relief USA does and just how many people you help. I think in that video, we saw a lot of emphasis on the impact of volunteers as well as donors. And I think during the month of Ramadan in particular, so many of our viewers are often looking for opportunities to gain hasanat, to see where they could help, what they could do. Is there any advice that you can give to our viewers in terms of how maybe they can get involved with ICNA Relief USA?
You mentioned about the volunteers. These days, to get admission in any good school, good college, to get a scholarship, to get a job, even to become a good CEO, a kind of unwritten requirement or part of your resume is your nonprofit work.
Yeah.
You might have noticed yourself. And one aspect of ICNA Relief work, I say that we have provided the largest platform, largest Muslim platform for people to volunteer. And it's not only the Muslim, a lot of non-Muslims also volunteer for ICNA Relief. We have the latest number I have, somewhere around 7,000 volunteers registered with us, close to that number what I was given by the our team. And that provide for our young people in particular, but for everyone, an opportunity to connect with people, an opportunity to vent their energy in very positive manner, an opportunity to, of course, gain those community hours, that credits which help them to get good jobs and good scholarship. But most importantly, that help them gain confidence when a child is a challenge in the school, that we cannot close our eyes. This is the fact that there are a segment of media which is continuously spreading hate and trying to portray. So when a young person is challenging that Muslims are terrorists, you are Muslim, this and that, a woman girl who is wearing hijab, or, then that is the best way to fight back. In positive way, they say that the action speaks louder than the words.
Right.
So I think this is so important. I request all the parents, that to engage your children, young people, particularly when they are teenager, in this work, and not only for the young people, even the grown-up adults. That's the best activity when you take your children for a good work, and together you do, say, help ICNA Relief pack their boxes.
Right.
Are you going in the disaster area by disaster and over there helping deliver the food, or going to a clinic and helping over there. So that make that family strong. They, working together, those friendships strong. When we work together for any good cause, that I think is one of the big accomplishment of ICNA Relief. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that, and thank our donor and volunteers and leadership that who thought about this. So you pointed out very rightly that more than donors, of course, they play a very vital role, but volunteers. And now another factor that a lot of sisters, mashallah, probably I don't have the exact number, but in our staff, it's almost 50-50. The number of same probably is volunteers, that thousands of our sisters, our daughters, and many sisters like even senior sisters, they are helping. And that's the success of ICNA Relief, that with very limited resources, we're able to deliver so much, because thousands of volunteers help us to do this work. On the other side, just I mentioned the health services in our clinics. Many volunteers, they got into residency program, they got into medical schools, and other just with the recommendation of ICNA Relief, and similar in other areas. So
yeah. So I think that's great. I think
we need to encourage our children by and large, and broaden these platforms to just lectures are not enough. We have to open the avenues for them to work and see firsthand and be part of it, and that will make them the future leader. Because when they are themselves taking the lead and doing the work, they will be future leader in our community in different arenas.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's, one of the benefits, of course, when you're helping others, in reality, you're helping yourself. I think there's a great deal of, self-improvement that occurs when you're in that process. And it's a blessing that ICNA Relief opens those doors and allows people to volunteer. So for our viewers who are interested in volunteering, you can definitely visit the ICNA Relief USA website. You can see where your local ICNA Relief USA office is. I know that there's many offices throughout the US, and you can sign up for different opportunities throughout Ramadan. I know there's many opportunities.
You go on the website, register as a volunteer, and automatically the local chapter get the information. Another, just on the side note, all our volunteers, they are insured like we have kind of umbrella insurance if any, God forbid, anything happen. And there were some incidents, somebody got hurt in responding in disaster and all that. And we take volunteers in a responsible manner. There's a certain, of course, those who are 18 and up, they can register, and those within the eligible age 15, 16, we do take care of all the proper protocols of the guardian's permission wherever needed.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. And I think, not to deter any volunteers, most of the volunteer work is incredibly safe. Of course, sometimes going into disaster areas. I know my husband a few years back volunteered with ICNA Relief and went out to Houston to rebuild homes after the hurricane that had happened there. And I know that there's a lot of interaction that you see, a lot of parts of the nation that sometimes you don't even realize what people are going through and what they're suffering with. So I highly encourage, the volunteer avenue, but also the donor avenue. And that's something that's critical as well. Many people are struggling a little bit financially now. We know that our funds are limited, of course, they're finite resources. And sometimes it can be hard to tap into donors at different times. What we're seeing today, of course, a lot of people are trying to get funds over to Gaza. That's a place of critical need. We know that there are struggles all over the world, people who have family in Sudan who are struggling, people who have family, in so many different places. What do you do as a nonprofit organization to ensure that funding is enough to be able to cover the costs of all of the projects and initiatives that you undertake?
I think one contribution of ICNA Relief is to educate our community, to give locally, and now, alhamdulillah, through ICNA Relief's work, seeing is believing. When there was no local work, people did not realize, and general perception was that everything is well taken care of. But during hurricane and disasters, and after that, when we had the shelter home, now the data is coming out that there are thousands and thousands of people around us, our neighbors, and particularly Muslim refugees, that they are in dire need. And as we know that teaching of our Deen and Prophet ﷺ has emphasized in many ways that to your neighbors, your hungry neighbor, your needy neighbor have the first right. And now people know that just we have 27 shelter homes for women and children. We have 56 food pantries serving close to 1 million people every year. Yeah. Every month, it's more than in the range of 100,000 people who are in dire need. So on and so forth. The needs are there which were not properly understood, or community was not aware of that. And the Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ, and for us, there are a lot of similarities as well. When Prophet ﷺ moved to Medina, Muslim community was a very small community, and they were a persecuted community. In Makkah, they had to leave everything behind, and even in Medina, those people who had accepted Islam, except one or two tribal chiefs, everyone else was very poor. Those stories we know in the authentic hadiths and narration, that even in the household of Prophet ﷺ, there was no regular a meal for many days. It was just some dates and some milk. And the story of many companions, for example, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that I would fell down in the streets of Medina, and people would step over me thinking that I'm intoxicated, but only reason is that 3-4 days pass and nothing has entered into my system, not even a grain, just the weakness, and many other stories. But even in that situation, when Prophet ﷺ entered in Medina, and I think that's a very important lesson, how to build a community, how to bring a change in the society. So total about 300 people when Prophet ﷺ migrated, half of them from the immigrants and half of them from the Ansar locals. Even in that situation, when Muslims were financially and by every standard very small, and they themselves needed help, but the instruction of Prophet ﷺ, they apply to us. We are also a small community over here. Just 1% to 2% claims are different, but barely 300,000-400,000 people identify themselves with Islam. It was 0.81% in one of the Pew Research. Prophet ﷺ said that Ayyuhan nas afshus salam, O people, spread peace. What that is that how you spread peace, you reach out to the people, you connect with the people, bring the communities closer. That's the way you spread peace. You bring harmony in the community. How you do that? If you reach out at the time of help, at the time of need. And right next instruction is and feed people. And I already gave you the background, a very small community which is financially struggling, and they were persecuted. They had to leave everything behind. But even in that time, the first instruction is that feed other. Even you don't have much, but share the blessing. So that's the way you connect with so any tribe run out of food and water in the vicinity of Medina. There were rich tribes of Banu Qurayza, Banu Nazir, and of course the Quraysh of Makkah were very rich, but they knew one community, community of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that which is very poor, but they know that this is the place we can go. And slowly, what happened that the thing changed within 8 years.
Yes.
And this was the action speaking louder.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a beautiful
phenomena. We have to understand that phenomena.
That's a very good example.
ICNA Leaf, our vision is to become the charity of choice for all Americans, Muslims and non-Muslims, everyone around our neighborhood. The way people in Medina thought one community, when anybody is in need, to go to one place, and Prophet ﷺ will call them in the masjid, whatever they have, they would share.
Thank you so much.
The charity of choice for all Americans, that anybody in our neighborhood who is in need, they think of the Muslims first.
Absolutely. And I think it's such a beautiful sentiment. And I apologize to have to wrap up, but we do have to wrap up. We've come to the end of our episode. I'm sure that you have so much passion for ICNA Relief. I'm sure that you could speak to us for hours more, but we do have to run. So Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but just quickly, give me 30 seconds to wrap it up, that this is the way Prophet ﷺ changed that society in a very positive manner. And the third, he said that Wasilul Arham, the strengthen your family. I think ICNA Leaf provide that platform. I already mentioned about the family, that which can help take the message to the community by our actions, and can strengthen our community and strengthen our society by bringing the people together.
Absolutely.
To do that, you need sincerity. You need the wisdom which comes from as a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Prophet ﷺ put that at the end, that pray at night when nobody is watching. The idea behind that is that you will get the sincerity and wisdom as a gift from your creator when you are doing good deed when nobody is watching. So absolutely. My message to all our community and donors, that the need, we understand the need worldwide, but it's important that the Muslim community is strong over here. Our masajid are strong, our local organization is strong, and most importantly, our charity work is as strong as here. Then we can be more helpful to help our brothers and sisters in our other parts of the world. When we work at the grassroots level, our congressmen will listen to us, our senators will listen to us, our councilmen will listen to us. And we see the impact, it's already happening. That at many level through ICNA Leaf work in all the departments, from refugee services to the disaster relief, our voices are being heard, but more need to be done. And for that, we need the support of the community through their donations. And Alhamdulillah, in the last, that ICNA Leaf's financially, in very systematic, scientific manner, and very transparent manner, were able to make impact. And Alhamdulillah, ICNA Leaf was able to secure a lot of grants on merit, double those impact of the donations from the Muslim community through grants, because you get the grant only if you have established the credit. As they say, bank give the loan to those who have credit.
Yes. So,
and
Brother
we were
Maqsood,
able
we
to
are going to
secure.
have to wrap up. I do apologize. I do have to run, but thank you so much for for coming on this show, for sharing your expertise. May Allah continue to grant you wisdom and sincerity in the work that you do in leading an incredible organization. For all of our
thank you
viewers,
for having me,
you.
and we need your prayer and support, and we need the feedback from you and from all our viewers and listeners, and I pray that your program get more success. You are doing a wonderful job to educating our community, and we will welcome any feedback to improve our work.
Ameen. Ameen. Jazakallah khair, Brother Maqsood.
Allah bless you and bless your organization, and bless all our community.
Ameen. And thank you to UMR for sponsoring this program. And we hope to see all of our viewers again in our next episode. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.